Taylor Swift stopped singing when she saw her, a woman in row 7, holding a pink picture frame, crying silently while everyone else cheered. In the next 3 minutes, the entire studio would witness something that reminded them why music matters. More than entertainment, more than fame, more than anything. It was supposed to be another perfect Tonight Show performance. Taylor Swift promoting her latest album, the one she'd poured her heart into. Jimmy Fallon introducing her with his signature energy. The Roots creating that legendary Studio 6B magic. 240 people packed into those iconic blue seats, each one feeling like they'd won the lottery. Standard Tuesday night. But in row 7 sat a woman named Sarah Mitchell, 43 years old. She clutched a photograph of her 7-year-old daughter. She hadn't left her house. In 847 days, not since the accident, not since she lost Emma, for 2 years and 4 months. Sarah had been a ghost, in her own life, haunting her daughter's bedroom, sleeping in Emma's bed, holding Emma's stuffed animals, listening to Emma's favorite songs, until the words became white noise. She had stopped answering the phone, and existed only as a keeper of memories. 6 weeks ago, Sarah found a letter, hidden under Emma's pillow, written 3 days before the car accident. Dear Mommy, if something bad happens to me, promise me you'll keep listening to Taylor. Promise me you'll keep singing. Promise me you'll keep living. Love, Emma. That letter was the reason Sarah was here, trembling in row 7, wearing the first dress she'd put on in over 2 years, about to experience something that would shatter her carefully built walls. Later, a woman would stand. She would say something that made Taylor Swift leave the stage, walk into the audience, hold a stranger while both of them cried. But first, there was music, lights, the familiar rhythm of late-night television. Studio 6B pulsed with pre-show energy. The Roots fine-tuned their instruments. Audience members settled in, phones out. Tonight's guest, Taylor Swift, row 7. Sarah Mitchell sat alone. She'd left the other seat empty, the seat where Emma would have been. She held the pink picture frame, Emma's face smiling back at her. Those curly brown curls, those freckles, that smile that could light up the universe. Sarah's hands trembled. This was her first time outside, in 847 days, the first time she'd worn real clothes, done her makeup, pretended to be alive. The show opened with Jimmy's signature energy. His monologue landed perfectly. Laughs rolled through the studio, genuine, warm. When he introduced Taylor Swift, the applause was thunderous. People on their feet, phones recording. This was the moment. Taylor emerged onto the stage, a stunning gold dress. It caught every studio light. She waved to the crowd, that signature grace that defined a generation. She settled at the microphone. The music began. Her voice filled Studio 6B, clear, powerful, perfect. 240 people sang along, swayed to the rhythm, held up their phones, recording every moment. Jimmy watched from his desk, smiling, nodding to the beat. This was exactly what he'd expected, a perfect performance, by one of the biggest stars in the world. Then Taylor's eyes found Sarah, row 7, a woman sitting completely still, while everyone around her danced and sang and cheered. She was crying, silently, holding that pink picture frame against her chest. Her entire body seemed to vibrate with something that looked like pain, wrapped in desperate hope, wrapped in love that had nowhere to go. Taylor's voice faltered, just for a second. But it faltered. She kept singing, professional, perfect. But her eyes couldn't leave that woman. Something about the way Sarah held that photograph, the way she clutched it to her chest, like it was the only thing, keeping her tethered to earth, the tears streaming down her face while everyone around her smiled. It spoke to Taylor, in a language that bypassed words entirely. The song reached its bridge, the most powerful part, but Taylor's voice was getting quieter, softer, until it stopped completely. The music kept playing, but Taylor wasn't singing anymore. Jimmy stood, silent. Taylor lowered her microphone. Slowly, the music faded. 240 people fell silent, confused, concerned. What was happening? Taylor walked to the edge of the stage. Her eyes locked on Sarah. "I'm so sorry," she said softly, her voice barely carrying. "But I need to stop, just for a moment." She pointed to row 7, the woman with the picture frame. "Ma'am, I don't know your story, but I can see you're carrying something heavy. Would you be willing to share it with us?" Sarah's head snapped up. Her eyes went wide with shock, terror. This wasn't supposed to happen. She came here to listen, to honor Emma's letter, not to be seen, not to break apart in front of strangers. "I see you," Taylor said gently, her voice full of warmth. "And I think everyone here needs to see you too. Can you stand up for me?" Sarah's hands gripped the picture frame tighter. She looked around, people staring, cameras pointed at her. She wanted to run, to disappear, but something in Taylor's voice, something in her eyes, made her slowly, shakily. "Stand up." "What's your name?" Taylor asked. "Sarah." Barely a whisper. "Sarah, that's a beautiful name. And who's in that photograph you're holding?" Sarah's face crumbled, the question she'd been dreading. "My daughter, Emma. She was 7 years old." The studio fell completely silent. Even the band stopped. "Was?" Taylor repeated softly, her own voice breaking. Sarah nodded, unable to speak for a moment. When she found her voice, it came out raw, broken. She died 847 days ago, June 14th, 3:17 p.m. Car accident. We were going to the grocery store. She was singing your song, Shake It Off. She always sang that one in the car. Taylor felt tears forming. "Sarah, can I come up there? I'd really like to hear about Emma." Jimmy stood immediately. "Go." Taylor didn't hesitate. She left the stage, walked into the audience. People shifted to create space. She sat down next to Sarah, and for a moment, the most famous musician in the world was just another person wanting to hear about a love that had been too brief. "Tell me about Emma," Taylor said simply. Sarah's composure shattered completely. "She loved you from age 4, every single day. She played your songs, she sang, she danced. When she was scared, your voice made her brave again." Taylor touched the pink picture frame gently, looking at the little girl, curly brown hair, freckles, a smile that radiated pure joy. "She's beautiful," Taylor said softly. "What was her favorite song?" "Never Grow Up," Sarah said immediately, no hesitation. "Every night before bed, even at 7, she asked for that song. She would hold my hand, close her eyes, and I would sing. The night before the accident, she asked me to record myself, singing it to her. She said she wanted it forever, in case I ever forgot the words. 7-year-olds are dramatic, I thought, but now I have that recording, and it's the only thing that kept me alive, these 847 days." Taylor was crying openly now, not caring about cameras or audiences or millions of people who would eventually watch this. "You've been listening to it? Every day, sometimes 20 times, sometimes 30. It's the only way I can still feel her, the only way I can still be her mother, the only way I can still hear her laugh when I close my eyes. Sarah, you're still her mother. You'll always be her mother. Death doesn't end motherhood. It just changes what it looks like." Sarah let out a sound, part sob, part relief, the sound of someone who'd been carrying impossible weight, alone, for too long. "Can I tell you something Emma wrote?" Sarah asked, her hands shaking. She pulled out a folded paper, worn soft, from being read hundreds of times, thousands maybe. "This is the letter I found 6 weeks ago, under her pillow, the one that got me out of the house, for the first time, in 847 days, the one that got me here tonight." Taylor nodded, honoring the sacred act of witnessing. Sarah unfolded the paper, trembling fingers, read in a voice that kept breaking and recovering and breaking again. "Dear Mommy, if something bad happens to me, promise me you'll keep listening to Taylor, keep singing, and keep living. I know you get sad sometimes, but Taylor's songs always make you happy again, so promise me you won't stop being my mommy. Love, Emma. P.S. Also, if you ever meet Taylor Swift, tell her she's my hero, and her songs saved us both. The silence in Studio 6B was profound, not awkward silence, but the kind of silence that holds space, for grief so enormous, it needs room to breathe. Taylor stood, slowly. Sarah stood with her. Then Taylor pulled Sarah into a hug, right there in the middle of the audience, in front of cameras, in front of 240 strangers who suddenly felt like family. Emma was right, Taylor whispered, loud enough for the microphones. You're still her mommy, and she's still teaching you how to be brave. When they separated, Taylor addressed the entire studio. Everyone, I want to tell you about Emma Mitchell. She was 7 years old. She understood something most adults spend their whole lives trying to learn. That music isn't just entertainment. It's survival. It's connection. It's love in a form that never dies. Taylor turned back to Sarah. You've been surviving for 847 days. But Emma didn't just want you to survive. She wanted you to live. That's why you're here tonight, because of her letter. Sarah nodded, unable to speak. Then let's honor her, Taylor said. I want to sing Emma's favorite song, right here, right now, for her, for Sarah, for everyone who's ever loved someone they had to say goodbye to. Too soon. Jimmy felt chills. Taylor, we don't have instruments. We don't need instruments, Taylor said. We just need our voices. She turned to Sarah. Will you sing it with me? The way you sang it to Emma? I can't sing like you. Emma didn't care how you sounded. She just cared that it was your voice, loving her. What happened next was pure magic. Taylor Swift began singing Never Grow Up, a cappella, her voice filling Studio 6B. By the first chorus, Sarah joined in, her voice shaky, raw, absolutely perfect. The voice Emma had heard every night of her 7 years. The entire audience sang along, 240 voices, creating a harmony that was imperfect and beautiful and exactly right for honoring a 7-year-old girl who believed her mother's voice could heal anything. As they sang, Sarah closed her eyes, held Emma's photograph against her heart, and for the first time, in 847 days, she felt something other than crushing grief. She felt Emma's love, still present, still protecting her, still guiding her forward. The song ended. Taylor and Sarah stood together, holding hands, connected by music and motherhood and the understanding that some love stories are too powerful to be limited by death. The applause wasn't entertainment applause. It was recognition that something sacred had happened. Jimmy returned to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we learned something important from Sarah Mitchell and her daughter Emma. We learned that music's most powerful thing isn't how it sounds, it's how it saves us. Taylor added, still standing with Sarah. And we learned that motherhood doesn't end with goodbye, it just learns new languages. But Taylor wasn't finished. She reached into her pocket, pulled out something golden, a delicate ring she'd worn during every performance, every recording session, every moment of her career for 6 years. This ring has been with me through everything, Taylor said, her voice steady now, purposeful. Every song I've written, every stage I've walked onto, every moment when I needed to remember why I do this work. I want you to have it, Sarah. Sarah's eyes went wide. Taylor, I can't. That's yours. No, Taylor said gently, but firmly. It's Emma's now, and yours. She understood something, that I'm still learning, that the greatest gift we can give each other isn't fame, or fortune, or perfection. It's presence. It's showing up. It's keeping promises, even when it breaks our hearts. Taylor slipped the ring onto Sarah's finger, right next to her wedding band, that she hadn't removed since Emma's death. Now you have something from Emma's hero, whenever you feel alone, whenever 847 days feel like too many to carry. You look at this ring and remember, Emma chose you as her mother, and she chose my music as the language of your love. That's not coincidence. That's connection. That's forever. Sarah looked at the ring, then at the photograph, then at Taylor, for the first time in 847 days. She looked like someone who believed that survival could transform into living. She would have loved this, Sarah whispered. I'm honored to know her story, Taylor replied. And Emma's story won't end here. I'm going to carry it with me. The episode became one of the most watched segments in Tonight Show history, not because of celebrity factor, but because it reminded millions that grief is love with nowhere to go, and music gives it a place to live. Sarah returned home with something she hadn't had since June 14th, hope, not the kind that pretends pain doesn't exist, but the kind that believes pain can coexist with life, with Emma's voice still singing in her heart. Taylor kept her promise. She dedicated her next tour to Emma, telling their story before every concert, reminding audiences that music's greatest power is connection. Across impossible distances, the pink frame and Taylor's ring became inseparable. On Sarah's bedside table, she still listened to that recording every day. But now her voice was different, still broken, still grieving, but also healing. 6 months later, Sarah started Emma's Circle, a grief support group for parents who lost children. Taylor attended the first meeting. Love doesn't end. When someone goes away, it just learns new ways to find you. Emma's letter became proof that 7-year-old girls understand love in ways adults spend lifetimes learning. That music doesn't just entertain, it teaches us how to keep loving people, even when they can't love us back. The same way, some love stories don't end with goodbye. They just learn new melodies, find new voices, keep singing, forever through 847 days and beyond, through grief and hope, and the beautiful refusal to let love die just because someone went away. Silence. 1.5 seconds. That's what music does. It saves lifetimes.